Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be continuing the Gladiator series and we're on episode 5 where we'll actually be using this Rapier with a kettle hat, taking Weapon Mastery over Slayer for the first time. Last time we tried out Weapon Mastery for the Felling Axe. We did okay, but we did die quite often. So we're sitting at 10 kills, 3 deaths, and this is a series where I can only loot the players I kill. So our loot's actually looking very good, but the struggle's starting to become increasingly difficult with basically players getting better and better gear. That also means there's more stuff out there for us to maybe acquire, which may be a little bit of foreshadowing. And we spawned here last episode, and we'll spawn here again this episode. Although I'm noticing, and you'll notice quite early on, Rapier does fairly poor damage, because you're actually relying on your attack speed, really. The minus 10 damage, minus 10% damage you get running Weapon Mastery on a 24 damage weapon kinda is important. A lot of people think Rapier's a really good option on the fighter, though I'm not yet convinced. Killing a few of these mobs, we're just gonna skip through some of this and show you guys just very quickly some of the issues you can have with the Rapier. I wasn't really that aware of. Like, I see a clanging off the door, and then the point is actually a really small hitbox. So you'll see I'm smashing it off the ground trying to get those spiders. But the big thing to notice was that that second swing is actually great at catching doors, or basically walls. We break the spider pot and then we instantly hear a guy on the other side, so we're gonna fight this guy. Luckily his axe smashes into the doorway. We pop Adrenaline Rush hoping that the attack speed will just destroy this guy. And it does. It's actually kind of a nice little side sweep because it was like pretty much head level. So we're actually gonna collect a decent amount of loot here. From basically a guy with the starter barbarian kit. So really we should be winning that fight, and one thing I didn't realize at the time was that axe was actually buffed up with Achilles Strike, I think. Because you could see it was glowing red and he smashed it into the doorway and lost basically all of his damage. So actually we're a little bit fortunate there because we would have taken a lot of damage. And we had him kind of stuck in the doorway, which is the perfect spot for a barbarian swinging that giant axe if you don't want them to hit you. And Rapier worked out quite well, so we're now up to 11 kills with a decent little pocket of loot. Usually end up going this way because I like this room and it gets you upstairs. Bats aren't too difficult to deal with, but sometimes guys, like you'll see right there, sometimes there's guys that spawn close by. Though generally speaking, that room is usually empty. Rather than doing a straight 1v1 with that guy, we're just going to kind of wait this out. And we spend a little bit of time lurking underneath, clearing a few mobs. We're not in a big rush here. We have a bunch of loot, actually. And, I have no meds, so taking chip damage or taking any damage at all from a player, and then still being a few minutes away from a final portal is kind of tricky. I absolutely hate this location. The aggro on the goblins seem a little different this playtest. Sometimes they'll aggro, sometimes they'll back off. Makes it really frustrating when you're trying to clear things quickly. We're kind of hoping someone gets pushed into us from zone. But it actually seems pretty clear. It almost seems a bit too quiet considering zone's on its way. I do hear a couple footsteps, but I can't tell if they're the archer or somebody else. That's definitely a player. So I think this is the rogue we spotted earlier. And there's actually 2 guys out there because the rogue's dancing looking at somebody else. So we have a rogue and then someone on our right, and it makes getting through that hallway almost impossible. He's just going to camp that, hoping that we take some damage from these mobs or the traps. So looking for a way out, we go this way and spot another barbarian. I'm actually feeling super confident here considering how the last fight went. And we may end up having to just take this fight to get ourselves a little bit of space. We get him kind of where we want him, in another doorway. Although he catches us perfectly with that swing. And then, this is my first interaction with Achilles Strike. And you just saw how quickly it can delete you when you're sidestepping back and forth. I missed a few swings, but you'll also notice that my Rapier hit the ceiling, and his axe didn't. So he was just much better at spacing himself for that fight. And truthfully, not using the Rapier before, I'm not a huge fan of all its crazy swings. Regardless, we jump into another game, running just our bare bones kit with torch and arming sword, and all that loot's gone. So, no more Rapier for now. I was really frustrated when that second swing caught the doorway. And once again, we get the spawn. Which is a spawn I'm starting to get a little tired of, to be truthful. And this time, for some reason or another, I stepped just a little bit too far ahead and end up aggroing a goblin and the mummy. And then because of that, we have to back up a little further than I'd like, which leads to another goblin distracting us from the mummy, and we end up taking some pretty substantial damage from one hit from the mummy, which really shouldn't happen. Hopefully this isn't the run where we get our death counter up to 5, but we take a quick rest, and we have seen worse situations before and got through them. And just a little indication, this one actually works out quite well for us. Clearing that mummy, taking the protection shrine, we're just going to skip through the next room and do my classic trick of basically kill the death beetle. Usually there's death beetle right here. Yeah, you have to bait the little death beetle out. I tried to the right last game, so this game I'm thinking, well, maybe we'll go to the left. Really sucks not having any damage. It takes so long to kill stuff. So yeah, this is when you just zoom through the room and hope nothing hits you. Last time I attempted this, we did take some damage from a death beetle that spawns halfway through this room or close to the end door. I actually hear steps close by, so I'm kind of just gonna take a peek to see. He must be on the upper level, and I'm not going through that kind of mess again. So we go for this little sprint, and you just have to kind of get lucky that death beetle doesn't catch your aggro super early, and just pray that you can open this quick enough. And we're just, once again, just so close. Take some death beetle damage, which wasn't huge, and then we're instantly squaring off with the ranger, which isn't a great spot to be in. We juke all his arrows, which was very lucky, and then we see he has a spear, which is not something I want to push into right now. Looks like he already took out a poor cleric. And now we're in kind of a bad spot. Like, he's got the biggest room, like the best room possible, basically, for a ranger. And, I was expecting him to push in here, but mobs are kind of giving him a hard time, so we do get a little bit of a breather, and I decide we're going to take a quick rest, and maybe that will be the basically reason we can win this fight. So after a lot of like kind of just hesitating and chilling, the ranger kind of messed off and went up top, which makes it incredibly difficult as well, because now he has basically full control. And he's kind of blocking my route up, which is my favorite place to be. I don't really want to be in this room when the final circle starts, fighting skeleton wizards and death beetles and all the other skeletons that spawn in that room. So we decide maybe we'll check up top, see if we can get a free pass here, and somehow we aggro the goblin archer from the center, which is the most annoying thing in the world. Not wanting to take more damage. Basically, we can't take more damage at this point. We end up just kind of getting out of there. And you heard the ranger quickly open that door just to see if he could pop a few arrows at us. So I actually didn't realize he was still just kind of lurking up there, but he's definitely waiting for us. I'm really hoping he'll kill the goblin, which will give me a chance. No, he didn't. No, it does have an arrow in its head, so this might be a little easier. And it is aggroed to him, so he must be close. Yeah, you kind of hear him still behind the door, and we don't really have any other option. Like, the zone's going to push us right into him. Pretty much a horrible spot to be in. Sounds like he's shooting at somebody else or something else. And yeah, we got two guys here fighting. So that rogue actually looks pretty stacked. Doing his double jump, flying around. And I'm kind of hoping I can sneak in once one of these guys fight. The ranger ends up piecing out. And now, so basically it's just us and this rogue, maybe. We hear a bard. Things are starting to get a little bit chaotic. hear Goblin Mage fighting somebody, so there's definitely players underneath us. I'm guessing that Bard's trying to get them all to fight each other, and this Rogue's trying to clean up the lobby. You can see there's just another kill in the kill feed there. So he's still active. And he's got a stiletto dagger by the look of it. Sounds like he took some damage here. He's drinking a pot, so this may be our chance. We have to go for this now. We catch him while invis and then finish him off with a clean strike. And now we are incredibly surprised to find some very, very high value items. Surgical kits, basically a full inventory of rings, gloves, weapons that are blue. This would most definitely be our best score so far. I mean, we have most of the stuff we can use, and which is why I'm kind of popping this surgical kit, which may be a little bit overkill, but I seriously don't want to lose any of these blue weapons or purple gear. This type of gear is extremely hard to come by in a challenge like this. We check him again, because I think I actually left a few items on him. Yeah, look at that, a blue stiletto. Even on the fighter class, you can run a lot of these items, so it can be a lot of fun just running ridiculous stuff, but the gear and armor will be something I maybe save. We just need to hope that we get a portal. This is the most frustrating thing about Goblin Caves. You never know if you're going to get a portal up top, down below, anywhere. And we do get lucky. No, it does... There's kind of a weird little visual bug here. It looks like that guy's actually blocking the portal on me, but we should be free to leave. Yeah, I'm really excited with this. It's a very good run. Even though it was kind of like a chess match throughout the whole thing, we kind of timed it perfectly, and we actually get level 5. I think we already were level 5, actually, sorry. But we get some rings, which were actually not bad rings. Agility 2, Strength 2. And he had some nice stuff. Like, you know, this is what I was starting to see in Goblin Caves. And it was starting to become almost impossible to win with starter gear. Because you're going to be running into a guy like this at the end. Now, obviously it's not impossible. It's just incredibly difficult. He put himself in a really bad situation with some of those mobs. And we got super, super lucky. A straight 1v1, like he could have just stabbed me like maybe once with that stiletto and I would have been toast. But instead he decided to throw knives at me, which didn't really do much, and put himself in a really bad situation. Yeah, we got purple boots too. That's pretty cool. It's honestly some of the better loot I've found, even on my main class. Like, it's not too often you get a chance to kill a guy that has like full blues and rings and stuff. So we're gonna sell some of this. We get, you know, 50 or 60 gold. Not a bad haul gold-wise, and our inventory is actually not looking terrible. So next episode, in honor of this rogue, we're actually gonna try out some oddball weapons. You'll see here I'm using the Chris dagger. And we'll see how that does for us, as well as maybe some other odds and ends. So once again, thank you guys. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you guys next time. Here's hoping we get some news as soon as possible, since it's desperate times out here. Cheers, everyone. Thanks.